So I was watching a video from Josh Strifehaze, and it kind of made me remember of Genshin Impact, which is something that I've been wanting to talk about for quite some time. Um, so why not? The video was about MMORPGs that fail to deliver the fun part right at the beginning of the game, and that leads to a bunch of players quitting the game before the game actually gets good, which is kind of a problem because, well, if your game is low at the beginning and you justify that by saying, well, it will get better eventually, well, most people will then just quit before the actual good part starts. And that was the idea of the video. I don't remember the exact title of it, but I think you can easily find it by searching for Josh Strife Says. Most people quit at the tutorial. The title was something like that. And I would like to expand on that. Just using as an example, but it's not really the main offender, but Payday 2. When I first started playing Payday 2, that was when I first noticed this issue of most people quitting the game before it gets good. Again, not the main offender, I'll get to that later. But anyway, if you go to Payday 2 on Steam, the developers coded some achievements that you can unlock, like you do something in the game, and you get an achievement to be displayed on your profile. And if you go to the achievement section, there will be Steam will display a percentage of players that have the achievement. And there is 4 achievements that are like the easiest ones to get. The first of them is put on a mask, which is the first thing you're gonna do in the game. And still like 70% of people have the achievement. So 30% of the people that bought the game didn't got to that part. So when you open the game will show a screen saying, hey, it's your first time playing the game. Would you like to do the tutorial? And if you select yes, you'll be put at the tutorial. And it's like one of the first things you do, not only on the tutorial, but on every game that you play, on every heist that you play, is put on a mask. Because, well, the game is about robbing places. And some heists will have a casing mode where you can freely walk around, looking where are the cameras, where the guards are, where the vault is, that type of stuff, without raising the alarm, because, well, you didn't do anything suspicious yet. But then you put on a mask and you can actually start the heist. And on the tutorial, the only things you can do is walk around until you reach a certain point where the game will tell you there is nothing else you can do from now on except putting on a mask to continue the heist, to actually start the heist. I mean, to end the casing mode and start the heist. So that's one of the first things you will do on the game, besides walking around, but there is no achievement for walking around. So anyway, that's one of the first things you do, and not every player has that, because a lot of people just bought the game and never actually opened it. The second achievement, the second easiest achievements to get, are actually to jump for the first time or complete a heist without jumping. You will do one of the two. If you are familiarized with first-person shooters, you will probably jump for the first time and get that achievement, because we tend to spam the spacebar when there is nothing else to be done. So you will get that achievement. If you're not familiarized with first-person shooters, you will probably get the other achievement, the achievement to complete a heist without jumping. So those are the second easiest achievements to get. And then there is the third easiest achievement, which is to complete a heist. And if I remember correctly, the tutorial does count as a heist. And not every person has these achievements. And things only get worse as you progress in the game. Like there will be a bunch of super easy achievements to get that like only 5% of players have. And it's not even like hard things to do. It's really easy stuff to do that you can quote unquote accidentally get. Like you can complete those achievements, those rare achievements, without actually trying, without aiming to get those achievements. Like since the game was released on 2013, I think, they still updated it. They kept adding new weapons, new heists, new characters, and so on. So the newest heists, the ones like added on 2020 or whatever, they all have like 5% of players have the achievements for those heists. And they are like super easy achievements. They are like complete the heist. But since the heists were added later on, only a few people have it. Because people that played the game back in the day didn't came back to the game, or maybe they like just don't care about the new heists, or whatever other reason. So anyway, I say this is not the biggest offender because, well, the things you do on level 1 are the same things that you'll be doing on level 100. And it's not the main issue that Josh was talking about. He was talking about games that the fun only starts after a certain point. Like you play the game, and then after a certain point, they will introduce new mechanics. And most players won't reach that part because they will get bored before getting there. I'm mentioning Payday just because it was the first game that I noticed that, well, a lot of people quit games quite early on. Even though, like, you know, as I said, it's not like the main offender because they will introduce you to all the concepts at level 1. And then the things that you will unlock later on are mostly just schemes, are most like cosmetic stuff. But going to the main offender, now that the idea of the video was explained, is Genshin Impact. The first time I got in touch with Genshin was because a friend of mine decided to try this game. We were trying to find games that we could play together, and he saw Genshin Impact, which is free to play, so there is no investment to it. We can just download it, start playing, and if we don't like it, we can just move on. So he found that. He saw it was a multiplayer game. He liked the aesthetic, the anime aesthetic, and so he proposed us to play that. And at the time, I had no idea what Genshin was. I was thinking that it was a MMO RPG, like World of Warcraft, where you create your character and then you play with a bunch of other people. But that's not the idea of Genshin. Genshin is a very limited multiplayer game. Like the multiplayer aspect is very limited. You can play only up to 4 people, which is okay. It's fine. It works, but you know it's limited in comparison to the idea that I had of what the game would be. But anyway, we downloaded that. We booted the game. We started playing. We did the tutorial, and then we were like, okay, how do we play together? And that's where we stopped playing the game, because we figured out that you cannot play with other people until you reach, I think it's level 14, which is kind of easy to get to. Like, I assume you can get to level 14 is like in like 1 or 2 hours of playtime. So it's not really that far ahead. Like another game that we tried to play was Dungeon Fighter Online, because I played that when I was a kid, and I knew that the game had a multiplayer that was accessible from the very beginning. But it turns out with time they decided to change that, and now the multiplayer is only unlocked at the very end of the game. Like, you need to reach end game to get to play with your friends. So Genshin is not like that, but they still require some commitment time. And at the time we just judged that it wasn't worth. So we just closed the game and we went to play something else that the multiplayer was already unlocked from the start. So that was the first time that I tried to play Genshin Impact, and I just gave up because I was aiming to play with this friend, and the game just prevented us from doing that unless we committed to it. After some time, I decided to grieve. I decided to give another try to Genshin, and well, up until today, I just like kept playing the game and then like stopping for some time and then coming back to it. But anyway, after some time, I decided to try it again. And this time I was just playing by myself, so there was like no issue with the multiplayer because I wasn't aiming to play with friends. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna give it another try, without focusing on the multiplayer. So the multiplayer being locked until I reach a certain point is not going to be a problem because I'm not focusing on that. So I kept playing, and it's kind of a really fun game. But then I started to unlock a bunch of other stuff. So the first thing that we unlock, if I remember correctly, is a hub, kind of a hub or a house. I'm not really sure how to call it, but we get a device and we can enter. It's like a teapot, and we can enter this teapot, and we can like customize it, and it's kind of a house. You can customize with furniture and a bunch of stuff. I'm not really sure what we can do in there because I don't really like the idea of it, so I never experimented on it. But anyway, I saw that we can put some furniture in there, and each player will have a different teapot, and you can invite people to your teapot. So it's kind of a house, kind of a house system. But anyway, it didn't bother me that much because, well, I don't care about that type of stuff. But I can see that people that like that could be a bit pissed by that not being a thing that is unlocked on the very beginning of the game. But anyway, I just ignored that and I kept playing the game. And then we unlocked a card game. And that's when I started to be pissed with Genshin. Because I like card games. On The Witcher 3, I hope most people are familiarized with it. But if you're not, Witcher 3 is a role-playing game that has a, well, actually, let me rephrase that. The Witcher 3 is a card game that has a 3D world around it. The game's a role-playing game, but there is a card game on it, and the joke is that most people will spend more time playing the card game than actually playing the role-playing game. So that originated the joke that that The Witcher is a card game with a whole world built around it. But anyway, I was one of these people that played more the card game than the actual game. And The Witcher is actually the game that got me into card games. And the card game on The Witcher is called Gwent, and it's unlocked from the very beginning. Like, you do the tutorial, and then after you finish the tutorial, the game will go like, okay, you need to go to this place, and you need to talk with these people. And one of the people that you talk to will mention Gwent. And he will explain the rules of the card game, and then you will play a card game against this person. And then from there on, some other people will be interested in playing Gwent with you. And there is also another joke about a guy that wants you to find his wife and daughter, and then instead of doing that, you will invite him to play cards with you. And he will accept that, which is a fun thing to do in the game. Like, you can stop at any time. Like, you are on the verge of world destruction, but you can stop the main plot just to play cards. And I like it. It's a really fun card game, and it's unlocked from the very beginning of the game. And a lot of people enjoyed that game so much, they made a standalone game. You can just download Gwent. There is a multiplayer, a player versus player game of Gwent that you can play. And there is also a bunch of other stuff. There is a browser extension that I saw that allows you to play, well, not really a browser extension. You can download the program, and then it runs. Once you open the program, it runs on your browser, and you can just play Gwent with against the AI, and it's really fun. So when I saw that Genshin had a card game built into it, first I got excited to it, and then I got pissed about it, because, well, you need to reach a certain level to unlock that card game. And at that point, as I said, I gave a lot of tries to Genshin. Like, I started playing, then I got bored, and then I gave some time, and then I started playing again, and then I repeated that. And if the card game was unlocked from the very beginning of the game, I am 100% sure that it would have taken me more time for me to get bored of Genshin, because there would be more stuff for me to do. There will be the actual game, and then there will be the card game. And like, when I got bored of the actual game, I could just focus on the card game. And then when I got bored of the card game, I would already be unbored of the actual game. So I could just keep cycling between those two to like play the game for longer before I get bored of it. And also there is kind of a tutorial aspect of the card game, because Genshin has a element system which you can combine different characters with different elements to achieve better results. Like, you can combine a character that has a water power with a character that has a electric power. So the idea is to make the enemies wet, and then you swap to the electric character, and then you can like electrify your enemies. So that's the main idea of the game, to do these elemental combinations. Like, you can do the same with water and ice. You can make enemies wet, and then you can change to a nice character, and then you can like freeze your enemies. The game also has a weather system where at random moments it can start raining, and then you can ditch the water character. You can just skip straight to the ice character or to the electric character because the enemies are already wet due to the rain. So there is this combination system, this combination of elements system. And the card game will be basically that. And there is kind of a tutorial aspect to the card game because the card game will actually explain to you how these combinations work, and it will explain it in a better way than the actual game because the card game is a turn-based card game. You will have your turn, then the enemy will have your turn. You have their turn, so you can actually stop and think about what you're doing. While on the actual game, you need to focus on a lot of other stuff. You need to focus on your positioning, you need to focus on your health, you need to focus on the enemy's health, and you will kind of like forget about the element system and the combination of elements. And I feel like if the card game was brought to the beginning of the game, it would be easier for new players to grasp the element system. And also, as I said, for people that like card games, it's one more thing to do. It's one more thing for them to do, and then like the chance of them getting bored of the game gets lowered because it's more stuff for them to do. And then again, you keep playing, and then you keep unlocking more and more stuff, like fishing, and that's when I gave up on the game. After some point, you reach a certain level, and you unlock fishing, and you can now fish, as every good MMORPG. And that's like when I gave up, because I was like, okay, I like fishing, I like the fishing system on Genshin, but I don't have enough patience to keep up with the bullshit. I don't have enough patience to keep playing this game because like they will keep introducing stuff that I'm excited about, but first I need to get to the level that they require, and I don't have enough patience to do that. So I just completely gave up on Genshin, and from that, now you can pinpoint the moment where I stopped playing, which is when we unlock fishing, and I still didn't came back to the game, and I don't feel like I'll get back to it unless this friend of mine just sends me a message saying, hey, I reached level 14, then we can play online, we can play the multiplayer, and then like maybe I'll give another chance, but it's more because I'll be playing with a friend than because I'll be playing Genshin. Like Genshin is just an excuse for me to get into a voice call with my friend and to just talk about stuff with him. But anyway, I don't like it. I don't like this system that Genshin adopts, and I don't like games that adopt this system. Because, well, you need to play the game to get to the good part. But then, like, why not to bring the good part to the beginning of the game? So I can just play that instead. And the same happened with, what's it called? Path of Exile. Path of Exile is a Diablo clone. That I hear a lot of people talking a lot of positive stuff about it. And I see a lot of people actually saying that is better than Diablo because it has a lot more systems to it. The skill tree, I looked at it, and it's gigantic. You can do a bunch of stuff in that game. But it has the same problem of Genshin. You need to... The good part of the game is not at the beginning of it. The beginning of it is just a very long tutorial. There is kind of a story to the game, and then once you finish the story, you reach endgame content, and that's where the fun is. That's where the fun part of the game is. But you need to sit through a couple of hours. Like, for new players, that's gonna be a lot. Or maybe I just suck at the game, but I was like 10 hours into the game, and I was still midway through the story. I know that some people that like know the game can get to end game really quick, but for new players, that's a couple of hours that you need to sink into the game before you actually get to end game. And also, that was also another game that I dropped because I just don't have enough patience to play the bad part of the game until we reach the good part of it. And I don't know, I feel like, at least for me, they could just take the end game and make that the main game. They could like just cut the entire story of it to make it quicker for players to get to the good part of the game. And it's like it's similar to what happens with Genshin, but with Genshin it's just like this support systems, I guess, that just gets attached to the game because the game gets updated from time to time. But instead of putting the updates for new players, they just add at the end of the game. Like, let's say the maximum level is 20, and then they add a new update that will add a bunch of different systems, and they will raise the maximum level from 20 to 40. But the thing is, the new systems, they are not there. The new systems are not there for the new player. The new systems are there for people on level 20. So if you start playing now, you need to first reach level 20, and then you will unlock the new systems. And then you'll play it until you get to level 40. And then the developers will add even more systems. They will do another update with new systems, and then now the level cap, instead of being 40, is 60. But again, it's the same problem. The new systems will be added for people on level 40. So if you start playing now, you need to reach level 20 to unlock new systems, and then once you reach level 40, you will unlock even more systems, which kind of sucks for the reasons that I already mentioned. Like, the card game, it's unlocked on level 20 whatever. But if you like card games, maybe you'll not have the patience to play the game until you reach the card game, until you unlock the card game. Same thing for fishing. If you like games with a fishing mechanic, you're not gonna have the patience to play through the 20 whatever levels until you unlock the fishing minigame. And this kind of makes me remember of Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter, you have everything unlocked from the very beginning of the game. If you play like 2 hours of Monster Hunter and you don't like it, you will probably not like the end game of that. You will not like the end game of Monster Hunter because everything is already unlocked from level 1. Like, the things you do on level 1 are the same things that you're gonna be doing on level 999. There is no difference besides the power level. And that's like the perfect type of game for me. Like, from the very beginning, if you like fishing, you can fish. If you like training your buddies, because this game has a buddy system where you can like, there's cats and dogs in Monster Hunter Rise, and you can from the very beginning just build up your buddies, your buddies. Um, you can level them up, you can change their skills, you can customize them, so you can just do that from the very beginning. If you like, there's just one aspect of it that you take some time to unlock, which is the layered armor. The game has armor and cosmetic armor. And the cosmetic armor, well, the armor is the one that will actually give you benefits, like skills and defense. Every attribute will be attached to your armor. But the game also has cosmetic armor, which will add nothing to your character, but the appearance of the armor will override the appearance of the cosmetic armor will override the appearance of the armor. So if you want to look pretty, you have the cosmetic armors for that. And the problem is that it will take some time for you to unlock that. And I think that's the only issue that is similar to the one of Genshin. But even like that, it's just cosmetic stuff. It's not gonna impact your gameplay. But even if you like cosmetic stuff, even if you want your hunter to be pretty, if you're playing on PC, you can still download mods. There is a mod that will simply unlock layered armors from the very beginning. I don't really remember the name of it, but you can find on Nexus mod. It's a mod that will unlock the cosmetic armors as you unlock the common armors. So if you craft an armor, you will unlock the cosmetic version of that armor. It's a really good mod, and I really wish that was like a vanilla game thing, because then like if you really like cosmetic stuff, if you want your hunter to be pretty, it's there. You don't need to like learn how to mod your game, even though to mod Monster Hunter Rise is really easy. I can say the same about the other games because I didn't play them. But anyway, that's like the closest to Genshin Impact, the closest to the Genshin Impact problem that I can think of on Monster Hunter Rise. But going back to Genshin, just so we can wrap this up, I can see that those things are not a problem for people that are playing the game as they release the contents, because like, okay, so you start playing on the release day and then you play until you reach the end of the game. You play all the content that there is to be played, so there is nothing else for you to do except to wait for the developers to add more stuff to the game. So you wait for the next update, and then the next update, they add new levels, they add more to the story, and they add the card game. For you, that's fine, because you've been playing as they updated. So you keep playing, and now you can enjoy this new thing. You can enjoy the card game, and you can enjoy the next parts of the story. And you keep playing that until you reach the end of the game. And then now you wait for the next update. And then on the next update, they add the teapot. They add a hub so players can customize and have other players to join that hub. So it's a new thing for you to do. So you play that, you reach the end of the game, and then you wait for the next update where they add the fishing mechanic, and they add more to the story, and so you play that. So for people that are playing as they release stuff, it's not an issue. But for players that start now, I can see that being a problem. Because they could have updated the game for all of those things to be unlocked from the very beginning of it. Because most of it is not an issue. Like, most of it, you don't need to be a certain level to access, like a card game. That's a completely different system from the main game. So there is no reason for that to be locked after certain. There is no reason for that to be unlocked after you reach a certain level. Like the multiplayer, I can understand the multiplayer because to play with other people, you need to have at least 4 characters, and you need to play through the story to unlock the 4 characters, the base, the base 4 characters. So I can kind of understand the multiplayer to be locked on level 14. I will still argue that it can be brought closer to level 1 simply by making it easier or quicker for people to unlock the 4 characters. And even like that, I think on the game you unlock the 4 characters and then there is a gap until you reach level 14. So you will unlock the 4 characters and then like you still need to level up a little bit. So at least that they could like bring the level threshold a little bit closer to the moment where you unlock the 4 characters, to make it easier for people to access that. So on the multiplayer being locked, I can understand. There is a reason for the multiplayer to be locked, which is you need to have the 4 characters. But the card game, there's no reason for that. For the fishing minigame, there is no reason for it to be locked until you reach a certain level, because that will not impact anything on the main game. And the same thing for the teapot. They could have introduced the teapot as soon as they introduced the multiplayer, because now you're gonna be playing with other people. So if you want to, you can customize this hub so other people can join your quote-unquote house and have fun in there. But yeah, that's what I've been wanting to talk about Genshin and the reasons why I stopped playing that game. But anyway, I guess that's about it. See ya. I still didn't figure out how to finish this.